Thank you, Mataji. Okay, Hare Krishna, good evening. Welcome to third week, chapter 2, part 2. Let's take darshan of Sri Sri Radha Gokulananda, our Utsav Murti, our festival deity of Sri Jagannath Mandir, Kuala Lumpur. Let's offer our prayers to the spiritual teachers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikna Vinasha Narsimha Iti Namine. Namavom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Harini Mataji, are you there? Mataji is not there. Okay, let me read that. The speaker, this is a part of a portion of understanding of Gita. From introduction to Bhagavad Gita is to help us to understand Gita before we embark on reading it. The speaker of Bhagavad Gita is Lord Sri Krishna. He is mentioned on every page of Bhagavad Gita as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan. In what sense? Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So this is what it means, all right? Of course, the word Bhagavan sometimes refers to any powerful person or any powerful demigod. And certainly here, Bhagavan designates Lord Sri Krishna as a great personality. But at the same time, we should know that Lord Sri Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as is confirmed by all great acharyas. Acharyas means spiritual masters like Adi Sankaracharya, Sri Ramanujacharya, Sri Madhvacharya, Sri Nimbarka Swami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and many other authorities of Vedic knowledge in India. The Lord himself also establishes himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad Gita. So remember, there are two ways of it is being established that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Lord, by the acharyas and by himself. He also tells him by himself, and it is agreed by others as well. Not just an ordinary personalities, not ordinary human being. These are self-realized souls. They are great acharyas, okay, in each lineage. The Lord himself also establishes himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the Bhagavad Gita, especially in chapter 11, okay, and he is accepted as such in the Brahma Samhita. This Brahma Samhita is a prayers by Lord Brahma, and all the Puranas, especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, known as Bhagavata Purana. It says Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Therefore, we should take Bhagavad Gita as it is directed by the personality of Godhead himself. So what is the purpose of this whole paragraph? Is to establish that we want to know who is the person that we are getting this knowledge from. Why are we reading certain textbooks, certain guidelines? Why? Because it could be established by the regulatory bodies or the government. So you want to make sure that the publisher or the writer or the author is an established and authenticated, all right, stamped authenticity. Okay, it's like serum chop on your electric appliances, right? You can't simply use anything, otherwise you will get some, it could pose some hazards. So we want to go for those that has been approved by serum. Sometimes you want to take medicines or any health product that is been approved by Ministry of Health, all right? So this is why it is important to establish what are we reading, who are we hearing from, what kind of information you are taking. So you want to know who is the person who is giving it, all right? His authority is established this way. Okay, so you all remember what is Bhagavan means, right? Bhagavan, anybody remembers what does Bhagavan means? Literally, Bhagavan. It's a combination of two compound. Bhaga means opulence, Van means one who possess. How many opulences you all can remember? How many opulence are there?
6 opulences.
Very good, Mataji. Would you like to list them down? Do you remember all 6? Or
Strength, strength,
fame,
beauty,
fame, beauty,
um, strength,
Mhm.
strength, beauty, fame,
Yeah,
knowledge,
very good.
renunciation,
Very good. One
and
more. Let's type that down. Fame,
fame,
beauty,
fame. I said
strength,
strength,
knowledge,
knowledge, beauty,
fame, beauty, strength, knowledge. Two more. Renunciation.
renunciation, and
Anybody else? F1, F1, help. What do you think when you say opulence? When you say 6 opulence?
riches.
Yeah, well, very good, Mataji. Okay, so let's move to chapter 2 today. Okay, so we are at part 2. Okay, if you remember, we have covered, okay, you see, in your level 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you learned only 6 verses. Okay, in level 2, in first part, we have already learned up to here, from 2.2 to 2.37. You have, Krishna has given, of course, it starts with Arjuna's doubts, and then finally he surrenders to Krishna. Okay, this one we also recapped in our group throughout this week. And Krishna gives him knowledge. What kind of knowledge is that? What is the other name for this particular knowledge that Krishna gave? It starts with S. It's what? S yoga. What is that? The analytical study between body and soul.
Sankhya Loka.
Very good, Mataji. Sankhya yoga. So with that knowledge given to Arjuna, Krishna said, fight. All right. And then he went to karma kanda. Karma kanda means when you do certain things, you will enjoy certain benefit. Okay, that is karma kanda. You shall reap what you sow. Okay, so Krishna say, if you talk about enjoyment, you're gonna either you're gonna win or you're gonna die in the battlefield. If you win, you're gonna enjoy the earthly kingdom, which is an enjoyment, sort of enjoyment. If you die in the battlefield, you're gonna go to heavenly planets, so you're gonna enjoy the heavenly pleasures. So in that way, you are also gonna enjoy. So that way, Krishna refuted the argument by Arjuna that he will not have enjoyment if he wins. Okay, and then Arjuna was also worried that he's going to incur sinful reactions because he's going to kill so many people. And then Krishna says, no, when you do it for me, you will not incur sinful reactions. Only if you don't do, then you will incur sinful reactions. If you run from the battlefield, then that is very bad. You will be called coward. All right. Okay, so that's where we stopped. And then today Krishna will use 2 other reasons and refute and will encourage Arjuna to fight. Okay, so one is Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi means intelligence. And then Sthita Prajna. Sthita Prajna or Samadhi means a person who is situated in the transcendence. Okay, so let's quickly recap what we did. So we started with Arjuna's doubts, and then he was giving 5 reasons, and he was feeling confusion, and then finally he surrendered. So this is where the relationship between Arjuna and Krishna changed from friendship to relationship of guru and disciple. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, Krishna is giving him jnana. Okay, that is also called Sankhya Yoga, which means analytical study. So this way, Krishna has refuted compassionate argument of Arjuna, because Arjuna felt very compassionate towards everybody. That's because he saw them as body. He thought he's going to destroy the body. Okay, so Krishna says nobody laments over destruction of a car or a dress. Okay, so we should be compassionate for their soul, and to be compassionate towards their soul, then you should give them a new body. Okay, why? Because there is no death for the soul, so fight. Okay, the next is Krishna uses karma kanda argument for for Arjuna to fight. Okay, you will get enjoyment if you win, either way. All right, and sinful reactions also refuted. So Krishna says, perform your duty, you will gain material enjoyment, so fight. So basically this is the overview, right? Use jnana, fight. Use karma kanda, fight. So today we will see, use buddhi yoga, fight. Use samadhi, fight. Okay, so last week we learned the first half of Bhagavad Gita chapter 2. So Krishna describes about Sankhya Yoga. Okay? Again, Sankhya Yoga means analytical study of soul and body. Body is material. So what kind of analysis that Krishna made last week? Body is material and it is temporary. Whereas soul is totally opposite. This is very easy. Okay. Body is material, soul is spiritual. Body is temporary, soul is eternal. Okay, soul is also full of knowledge. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat means eternal. Chit means full of knowledge. Ananda, very easy. Ananda means happiness. So soul is full of knowledge, full of bliss, while body is full of misery, so much of pain, so much of restriction, limitation. Okay, it's a very simple understanding, right? So this is why we call it Sankhya Yoga, the understanding the nature of the body and soul. And then we saw so many characteristics of soul. Okay, so I hope you remember some of it, like cannot be burned, they cannot be chopped, they cannot be cut, cannot be burned, cannot be dried. So all this. Okay, so please try to repeat this information to people, and that way you will remember. Okay, so when I used to teach the children below 12, I used to tell them, you go back, you tell 4 people the same information, you repeat to 4 people, and you will remember. So they always remember that I will go and tell my mom, I'll go and tell my dad, I'll tell my sister and friend in school. So like this, they always identify already who they're going to share. So like that, we want to share. Definitely there'll be somebody who will be interested to know this knowledge about you. Because if you don't share, then it doesn't stick. Okay, so that's why it's important to share. Okay, so today we will hear about Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi means intelligence, literally. It means working in Krishna consciousness. By doing this, you will experience full bliss and knowledge. You will get knowledge in Krishna service. Okay? Buddhi means intelligence. All right. So if you look here, analytical study, you're going to use the knowledge of the soul and body. You know the soul is eternal, body is not eternal. So with this, what are we going to do? All right, when you have this, how do you apply this realization? This realization only can be felt. All right, this realization is possible only when we work without attachment to fruitive results. And that way we will be situated, we will have the fixed, we will be fixed in realizing the self. Okay, so generally Buddhi Yoga means working in Krishna consciousness, totally devoting ourselves in the service of Krishna. So we have to make this difference first. Okay. What else is here? Right. Work in Krishna consciousness in the full bliss and knowledge of devotional service. Okay, that is Buddhi Yoga. You have this work, you are doing work, and then you have this knowledge that Krishna has given. So you combine them, and then your activity is called Buddhi Yoga. Okay, you understand that? It's like a formula, maths formula. Okay, so we are entering Buddhi Yoga. Okay, 2.39. Let's hear from Jai Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Esati bihita sankhya buddhi yogiti imam shrunu buddhya yukto yaya pata karma bandham prashasyasi. Thus far I have described this knowledge to you through analytical study. Now listen as I explain it in terms of working without fruitive result. O son of Prata, when you act in such knowledge, you can free yourself from the bondage of works.
Right, thank you so much, Prabhu. So again, Sri Krishna is saying here, so far I have given you the this knowledge through analytical study. So Krishna says, I have given you the Sankhya Yoga. All right, and then Krishna says, working without fruitive result means working without expecting fruit for the result. Fruit or result is the same, right? Working without expecting the fruit or result means Buddhi Yoga, because it will free you from bondage. Okay, in another word, it means working without attachment to the results. Okay, attachment, detached from the result. So when you do this, you will not get reaction from the work. So that is another word from free yourself from bondage of works. So you will not get reaction. Okay, in that way, the bondage is broken. There is no bondage. Okay, because when you do good, you will get good. You do bad, you get bad. All right. So when you act on the platform of Buddhi Yoga, then you will not have reaction. So this is what Krishna is saying. When we have this knowledge and we apply this knowledge, we won't be affected or entangled by the work or the reactions of the work. Okay, so Buddhi Yoga means fight but without any reaction. Okay, so I repeat, yeah. Okay, when we do work, there are reactions. All right, good reactions, bad reactions, and then generally when we do work, we want to enjoy the result. Okay, I'm going to do this now. I'm so worried whether I'm going to win or not. This is what Arjuna's position, right? But Krishna is saying, you just do. You are doing it under my direction. Your work is just to do the work. The result, you give it to me. Okay, your mind, detach your mind from that result. Don't worry about the result. That result is mine. So if you do this way, whether the work, the effect of it is bad or good, it is not gonna affect you. This is what Krishna is saying. So if you continuously do this, it will be a karma. That means there is no good karma, there is no bad karma. Bad karma is generally good, right? Good reactions. Big karma is bad reactions. But if you perform on Buddhi Yoga is another name for Bhakti Yoga. Okay, it's very close. I will tell you what is a fine difference. But for now, you can look at Buddhi Yoga as Bhakti Yoga, which means it's actually karma. Let me try to type that out. It helps. Okay, it's okay, Mataji, maybe. Yeah, it's good. So this is like this. Karma means, okay, work plus knowledge. All right, you will be acting on Buddhi Yoga platform. Okay, all right. Okay, so remember, Krishna initially gave karma kanda. You have to do your work. You do your work, you will enjoy. Then Krishna gives him jnana yoga. So you have to combine these two, and you want to be freed from the bondage. So you have to act on bhakti yoga. So in this case, using the knowledge means, here jnana is used as a basis to perform duty. You have to use the knowledge to do your duty, not to use to renounce duty. Or he cannot say, oh, I got my knowledge now. I'm a soul. So my soul is to serve the Lord. So I'm going to go to the mountain or cave and meditate. No, Krishna is not saying that. This knowledge you must use to do your duty, not to renounce your duty. All right. So because originally Arjuna wants to flee the battlefield. He wants to go away. All right. So as against Arjuna's desire to renounce duty based on jnana. So some people, they may misunderstand jnana means to renounce everything and just go and meditate, like that. So this is exactly what Krishna is refuting in the entire Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so we have a little differences here to put in perspective. Okay, both people, okay, let's say you have two people here, right? People who are acting on Karma Kanda platform and on Buddhi Yoga platform. Karma Kanda, remember, when you work, you enjoy your result. In Buddhi Yoga, you work, but you surrender the result. You are not attached to the result. Okay, so both of them are working, but the difference is that this person is going to get fruitive results and this person is acting on Krishna consciousness. All right, and they have aim. They also have aim. All right, this person acting on here, on this platform, his aim is to gratify his senses, satisfy his senses. However, people who are performing work on this platform, they are doing it for Krishna satisfaction. So whatever they do, they engage in Krishna's service. Okay, I'm doing it for you, Krishna. It's like that. All right, so we have to keep that. I'm doing this for you, Krishna, like that. All right, it's all your consciousness. Both of them also get result. And this result is going to cause them bondage. Like I say, karma, vikarma, remember? Whereas the person who performs activity on Buddhi Yoga platform, this is a path for them for liberation. Because as long as you have this bondage, as long your cycle continues and continues and continues like a never-ending chain. All right, so performing on Bhakti Yoga, your service teaching us is Buddhi Yoga. Yes, Mataji. We are, even you are hearing me is also Buddhi Yoga. I am teaching you is Buddhi Yoga. Okay, we are working and we are actually this is devotional service. Hearing and chanting is devotional service, is technically is Bhakti Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means you're working like others, but the result you're not attached to the result. You're surrendering it to Krishna. Okay, like you're going to work, right? You're going to work, some of your portion of income you are donating to Krishna's temple, or you're using the money to cook something and offer to Krishna, you decorate Krishna. All right, you're engaging the children in Krishna conscious activities. So this is all Buddhi Yoga, because everybody is doing work. Yes, Buddhi Yoga, this is what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Don't worry about the result. If you think you are worried about enjoyment, if you go through Karma Kanda way also, you will have your enjoyment. But I'm recommending you to take the Buddhi Yoga, because you will not have any reactions. It's like that. Krishna is giving something better than Karma Kanda. Okay, and that is a story. Okay, so you got it right. Buddhi Yoga means things are done only for Krishna satisfaction. It will not give reactions or bondage. Okay, generally in career world, we always want to work for reward, award, promotion. It is not entirely wrong. This is survival, right? However, just for the sake of comparison, devotional service, in devotional service, we don't care what is the result that is going to give. Krishna say you have to do this, then we have to do that. Okay, we are doing only for Krishna. Okay, there is a little story here. Who knows the story of Krishna having headache? Okay, so one day Krishna was having headache. Okay, this is a pastime because Krishna wants to show the position of the gopis. So Narada Muni was thinking that he is the topmost devotee of the Lord. Okay, and then he was in a situation where he cannot understand why Krishna loves the gopis so much. So one day Krishna decided to show him the exalted position of the gopis. So what happened? He said he has a headache, and Narada Muni said, "What is the cure for your headache?" Yeah, there is only one cure of the headache. For the headache, I need to apply the dust from the feet of my devotee, and I need to apply it on my head. Only then the headache will go. And then Narada Muni said, how can that happen? Who will even give the dust to put on the Lord's head? All right. Anyway, the Narada said, okay, you have so many queens in Dwaraka like Rukmini, Satyabhama, and others. Surely they will give you some dust. Okay, so he went and asked these queens, Krishna is sick. He has high fever. Could you please give him some dust from your feet? And then that will be the medicine for me to go and heal Krishna. They say, and then they were like looking at Narada Muni in disbelief. They were saying, oh Narada, what are you saying? Krishna is our husband. Can we give dust from our feet? And then what do you expect us? Go to hell? No, we cannot do that. All right, so they will not give. So like this, Narada Muni was asking so many of the devotees, they didn't want to give. And finally, he went to Krishna and said, nobody's going to give the dust from their feet because they are very worried they were going to hell. And then Krishna said, okay, there is only one place left. Go to Vrindavan, ask the gopis for the dust of their feet. The moment Narada Muni asked the gopis, they quickly gathered all the dust from the feet of the gopis and gave Narada Muni, here it is, quickly go and save our Krishna. Then Narada Muni asked, are you not afraid that you're going to give your dust? Because I've even asked the queens and they were so afraid that they're going to go to hell because giving dust to put on their husband's head. Then the gopis said, it's okay if we have to go to hell as long Krishna is healed. All right, we are willing to go to hell to cure Krishna's headache. So like this, that is why a gopis position is so exalted, and they have the service, the selfless service mode, that they don't care about themselves. All they care is Krishna's pleasure. So that is what is expected of us. We have to do things, everything for Krishna's pleasure alone. Okay, so that's a little story. It's a very famous story. Okay. All right, so we go to 2.40. Kala Mataji. Mataji, if
Hare
you're
Krishna
comfortable,
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, if you're comfortable, you can read the Sanskrit, otherwise translation also will do.
Okay. Neha Vikrama Nasoti Pratyavayona Vidyade Salpam Api Asya Dharmasya Triyade Mahado Bayad. In this individual, there's no loss or immunition, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Very good, Mataji.
Thank
Okay,
you.
diminution means diminishing, right? Diminishing, reducing. Okay, I have one question here. What is the most dangerous type of fear that you have? What could it mean? What is the most dangerous type of fear? Anybody? Please share your thoughts. Actually, this is repeating verse.
Losing a loved one.
Sorry, Mataji.
Losing a loved one.
All right. Okay, fear of death. Okay. Anything else? What could it be in the context of Bhagavad Gita? What Krishna is saying? Did he say that this knowledge will save us from death and we will become immortal? Could it be that? Let's get thinking. This is a revision verse. As you know, whatever appearing in chapter 2 is the condensed version of the entire Bhagavad Gita. After chapter 3, after chapter 4 onwards, everything that Krishna is saying is expansion of this chapter 2, which means all the verses in chapter 2 is a glimpse of what we have learned in level 1, yeah, what we have learned in elaboration in subsequent chapters. What is the most dangerous type of fear, dear Matajis and Prabhus? Why we are here? Come on, Sharmila Mataji. What is the dangerous? What is the danger?
Mataji, clue, please.
Clue up. It's one of the 4 miseries of life. And okay, related to incarnations, reincarnations. What happens to the soul after one body is destroyed?
Reborn.
Correct. Being reborn is the dangerous type of fear. Why dangerous? Next question. Why it's so dangerous?
Because it's an endless cycle.
Okay.
Because of the 4 types of thing that occurs when someone is born.
Yeah, the moment we are born, we are going to go through this 4 miseries: birth, death,
Birth, death.
old age, and this is very correct. Okay, so let's say I say, okay, I don't worry being born as a human. So what could be so worse about it? Being born.
Being
But are we
born
as
into animals.
oh, I'm so happy now. Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, you hit the bull's eye now. Yes, the dangerous type of fear is being born, reborn. Yes, but when we are in human body, and let's say we appreciate this human body of ours, and then we take part in this knowledge, right, and we know how to end the cycle, that is fine. But the most dangerous type of fear is that being born in animal form, in animal body, because here you hardly have a chance to elevate ourselves. Okay, unless you are born in a devotee family. Okay, if you are in some part in Africa forest, how are we going to advance rapidly? You still have to go through the cycle, and there are so many million species of life, and how many lifetimes are we going to get? So this is the dangerous type of fear. Okay, so again, what is that fear? Now we have human form of life, but next life we may become an animal. All right, look at this kid's reaction. Okay, it looks like he's so afraid that he's going to be born in animal body. in the next life. This is the danger. If we do not utilize this human body, we may become an animal, a dog or snake. All right, so we have to understand the importance of human body. Okay, so how to solve this? So how to solve this? Krishna is saying here. Okay, when we are born, we take part in some activities. There is some results. So later on, the result will diminish, right? All right, slowly it will go off, right? Zero rise. Okay, so Krishna is saying here, in this part, that means the spiritual part, it can save us from greatest type of danger because there is no loss. It never goes down. There is no reduction in it. Okay, let me give you an example. You know, a person who has performed a lot of pious activity in current life, and then when he dies, all right, and he goes to heavenly planets or higher planets. So these pious results, right? It's like your money in your deposits, fixed deposit. So you enjoy, like you save money and then you go holiday, right? So when you go holiday, as long as you have that money, you will enjoy. So once the money is finished, exhausted, you're gonna come back to Malaysia and then you're gonna start work again. So you will start from zero, isn't it? And then you go for another vacation and then you come back. So like this, in an expanded angle, we are doing a lot of pious activities. All right, this result will take you to higher planets, and after you enjoy, you exhausted your pious credits, and you're gonna come back down. So like this, the cycle is gonna go on and on and on and on. The soul also tired, taking birth again and again. So how are we going to stop that? So when you take out the spiritual part, your result, let's say by the time we die, is about 5%. And then you're going to come back. You're not going to start from 0. You're going to start from 5.1, like that. All right, 6%, 7%, like that you will go until you achieve perfection. But there is an end to it. So at least there is an end to it. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Whereas the material elements, it when you die, it goes with your body. That's it. It doesn't come with your soul. You can't continue with 0. You can't continue from where you left. You have to start from 0. Okay, so the dangerous type of fear is the birth and death. All right, so there is nothing to lose. Even if you try to put a little bit of effort to apply this knowledge, then the result is guaranteed. All right, your progress is guaranteed. Okay, so it is said that, so the conclusion is that the most dangerous type of fear is getting an animal body. So anyone practicing Krishna consciousness is at least will get a human body, and then we progress from there on. Okay, you have more facilities in that sense. Okay, so first fear is birth and death. Second fear is birth in lower species. So this is what I explained. I used monetary value, right? So this is like education. So when you have PhD, when you die, so next time when you come back, are you going to start from PhD? No. Or let's say I put it like this: if you finish at master's and then you die, you cannot start with PhD. You have to go back to your kindergarten, ABC 1 to 3, it's like that. Okay, material qualification does not continue in the next life. It starts from 0. Okay, on the contrary, a person who has been practicing spirituality in this life, all right, and then they die, right, and then they come back like this. It's very fast. The children pick up devotional service, the spiritual part. All right, you can see some people, some kids, they can recite slokas so nicely, they can tell stories, and they pick up Krishna consciousness very fast. They pick up very fast. This is because they have done. 7:30. Okay, all right. Okay, so you can see this young man sitting and chanting. Okay, so whatever advancement he has made in his life, it continues. He may take birth in the family of devotees. So from birth, he becomes a devotee. Probably become a born vegetarian. Following the father and mother, he's been exposed to the spiritual knowledge, spiritual practices. Okay, why? In the previous life, he has practiced it. So the point is, whatever progress we make in current life, all right, if we don't lose, we won't lose it. Okay, the progress means the spiritual progress, right? We won't lose it. It stays with us. Okay, if we advance 1% in this life, then we begin from 1% in the next life. Okay, we do not lose whatever we have given to our spiritual practice. So it's totally worth it. All right, However, spiritual qualification continues in the next life from where it was left. So it's very, very important for us to give this to our dependents, because you never know where they came from, and you just spark and then it catches fire very fast. Okay, 2.46. Jayanti Mataji. Ken?
Hare Krishna Mataji and
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
यावान् अर्थ उडपाने सर्वथा सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्रह्माण्डस्य विजयनतः. All purposes served by a small well can at once be served by great surveyor of water. Similarly, all the purposes of Vedas can be served to one who knows the purpose behind them. Thank you.
Very nice, Mataji. Thank you. You pronounced it very nice. All the shu and the ha. Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji, for putting in effort. Okay, so what Krishna is saying here, you see, in those days, they have various wells to do each particular job. Maybe one well to wash your laundry, one well for cooking, one well for the animals, of that kind of wells. They have different wells for different purposes. Okay, but if you go to the flowing river, then all the purposes are filled by this flowing river. So the purpose that is served by so many wells, all right, is served by one source, one reservoir of water. Okay, so why Krishna is giving this example? People are going reading Vedas. Okay, Vedas are like their handbook, right? It's like this. Vedas are handbook. You can find everything in Vedas. You can find information about knowledge about chemical, military, religious, social, metaphysical, political, economy, medicinal, physical. So Vedas are compared to the desire tree because they contain all things knowable by man. It's like a handbook, right? With this, you can live. This is a guide. So you cannot live whimsically, whichever way that you want. So Vedas give a great guide. So all these are covered. All right, economic okay, politics okay. Okay, so all these are here. They deal with mundane necessities as well as spiritual realizations. All right, but we have the responsibility to transcend above this, that we cannot settle only for material achievements that is guided by the Vedas. Above and beyond all these are specific directions for spiritual realization. Okay, this is like a handbook. For example, in Atharva Veda, there are mentions of medical uses of the plants. Okay, and what else? The Dhanur Veda is about using Vedic hymns and gross military science dependent on material weapons. So you see, different Vedas give you different knowledge. So that's why it's called handbook. Okay, so what Krishna is saying is, all this knowledge and information that the Vedas are giving, we need to strain out what is the real purpose of the Vedas. You get everything from the Vedas, but what is the actual purpose of the Vedas? So this is covered later in chapter 15, that Krishna says, by all the Vedas, I am to be known. Of course, you have so many other benefits, but ultimately what the Vedas are saying, they are talking about the Supreme Lord. Krishna says, by all the Vedas, I am to be known. That is the highest purpose. All right, there are many lower or material purposes from the Vedas, but Krishna says this is the ultimate. Okay, so initially Krishna was saying categorically. All right, he was saying there are many wells. Okay, so he's saying this purpose met by these small wells can be fulfilled by this big well. Okay, so everything that is available here also available here. Okay. Now, generally there are 4 aims of Vedas: Artha, Kama, Moksha, and Dharma. So this is what I expanded here. Okay, this Artha Kama Moksha, Artha, Artha, Karma, Moksha, and Dharma. Okay, so let's move to okay. Why Krishna gave that is that you see in you. Okay, we should actually change this to RM lah, but now this is given but in rupees. So in this big note of 2000 rupees, you will find 10 rupees, you have 50 rupees, you have 100 rupees. All right, so you don't have to collect so many of this if you have this. So it shows that if you know Krishna as the Supreme Bhagavan, then you will know Krishna in other forms like impersonal, like Brahman, like the Jyoti, the light, right? People worship God as Lord Jyoti, right? So that is also in Krishna. It's part of Krishna. So one of the aspects, all right? And he is also Paramatma. So you find when you know Krishna, you have all this Brahma, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Everything is inside here. So that is the perfection. Okay, so this is a beautiful picture of Srimati Radharani worshipping Lord Krishna. The revival of Krishna consciousness by the individual living entity is the highest perfectional stage of Vedic knowledge. So all the knowledge that the Vedas are giving, we need to know what is the highest purpose. The highest purpose is to revive Krishna consciousness. Why we call the revival? Because it is said that this Krishna consciousness is sleeping in everybody. Okay, it's very dormant. It's dormant. Dormant means sleeping, right? Dormant means, sometimes in account, in your banking account, right? If you do not activate the account, like you don't deposit or you don't do any transaction, it will go into dormant, and then the bank will start sending you notification. Please top up something. If not, we will close, and whatever amount of the money you have in your bank account, we will take it. So this is called dormancy. So our Krishna consciousness in every living entity is dormant. You just have to spark it with little bit of hearing and chanting and reading and prasadam, so it will revive. So that is called revival. All right, so we have to understand the goal of life, which is the purpose of what is the purpose of all the Vedas, is to develop love for Lord Krishna. All right, we give our love to limited material things, but real love is giving love to Krishna. Love for Krishna is called prema. Okay, so this is very interesting. Understanding Krishna is the supreme is the perfect stage of Vedic knowledge. Okay, so this way we need to compare the result of our work in fruitive activities versus work in Krishna consciousness. So Karma Kanda and Buddhi Yoga. So this is all related in that sense. Okay, this is very important. Yeah, we need to compare the result of our work in fruitive platform, okay, versus work in Krishna consciousness. Okay, so this is what I typed in the chat earlier. Jnana Yoga plus Karma, you will get Buddhi Yoga. Okay, Jnana Yoga means knowledge about body versus soul. Okay, Karma Yoga means work without attachment to results. So you have these two, you are acting on the platform of Buddhi Yoga. So Karma Kanda, okay, I think by now you know already what is Karma Kanda, right? Okay, what is the symptom of Buddhi Yoga? Your mind is detached from the results, okay, or you offer the results to Krishna. Okay, which means you need to work. You can work. You cannot sit without doing work. You cannot sit idle, right? One can work. Yes, you can work, but still remain free from bondage or works. So for this, you don't need to avoid work. If you desire to avoid reaction, oh, if I work, I'll get reaction. So how, Mataji, can I just stop working? No, you work. But this is how you set your mind. Your mindset, it should be like this. You are detached from the results, or you offer the results to Krishna. So in that way, the reaction of the work done will not affect you. All right. So that's clear, right? Okay, let's move on to 2.47. Lata Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Karmani vadikaraste ma paleshu padachana ma karma palahetu mate sangosva karmani. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. All right, so this is a very famous verse from Bhagavad Gita. It's describing about karma yoga. Your qualification is to do karma yoga, means your duty. The duty is your karma yoga. Okay, so the first point here, Bhagwan Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna, okay, you should do your duty. Okay, never abstain yourself from not doing it, from doing your duty. Don't stop yourself from doing your duty. You must do your duty. Your duty, you're a Kshatriya, right? So your duty is to fight. That is your dharma. You have to do that. So it is not wrong because it's your duty. But Krishna is telling Arjuna, he's recommending that, but you are not allowed to enjoy the fruit. This is under karma yoga angle, right? So earlier Krishna was talking about karma kanda, like typically what a person would do. You do this, you will enjoy. So that is karma kanda. Now Krishna is taking Arjuna progressively higher and higher and higher. So you need to follow that sequence, okay? You have to take that steps. So now Krishna is saying, okay, from karma kanda, we are coming to karma yoga, where you are not allowed to enjoy the fruit. Okay, this is totally opposite of karma kanda. Okay, if you can get that differences, right? Now the result of the work belongs to Krishna. It's all being done under my arrangement. I am doing the work, but I'm just using you as an instrument in my service. Okay, follow? You are an instrument in Krishna's service. The work is done by Krishna. So we cannot say, oh, I'm doing it, I'm doing it, I'm doing it. No, it's not that. Work is done by Krishna. Krishna is using Arjuna to do this work. This, if you remember, we covered this in level 1, chapter 11, where Krishna says, I am time. Remember, all of these people already put in death by me, by my arrangement. Because Arjuna will ask, right, who are you? What is your mission? Why you have come here? Like that, because Arjuna will be so awed with all the things that Krishna showed him. Then Krishna will tell him, I have come here to destroy everybody. All right, and they all put to death under my arrangement. You are just an instrument. So the word that he will use is nimitta matram. I think so. Right? You are my instrument. So, like I said, you have all this trailer here of the big picture later in the other chapters, subsequent chapters. So that is number 1. Okay, Krishna says the work is done by me. You are an instrument, and therefore you have to do your duty because that is your dharma. Okay, then point number 2, the line 2. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities. Okay, again Krishna is saying detach yourself from the results. All right, and do not be attached to not doing your duty. All right, people can be attached of not doing. I'm not going to do it. So that is an attachment. No, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to run to the mountain. I'm running around the cave. Now that is an attachment. So Krishna is saying, do not be attached to not doing your duty. Don't be attached that way. You should do it. You can say, no, I'm not going to do it. No, Krishna say, don't be like that. Okay, so how the work should be done, Krishna will explain in verse 2.48. All right, so the point is for us to have the right consciousness. How are we doing our work? That is proper consciousness. Are we doing it for our enjoyment or Krishna's satisfaction? 2.48. Mahana Mataji. Mahana Mataji, are you there? Mataji is not there. Anybody would like to replace Sharmila Mataji? Miss your voice? Sharmila Mataji?
Ken Mataji.
No, Sharmila Mataji. Sorry, Sharmila.
Oops, salah.
Yeah, I think Mataji is not there.
Okay.
Divya Mataji, are you there? Gunavali Mataji, can we hear you? Yi Mataji?
Yeah,
Okay, Mataji. Please read first, Mataji.
yeah. I read. Yogasta Guru. I don't know how to read.
You can read the translation, Mataji, no problem.
Perform your duty equipoise, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga.
Okay, so Krishna was saying, right? Here he was saying, do all this. do all this, don't do this, don't do that. Then how? Krishna is very kind. He's giving us step by step. Perform your duty equipoise, means undisturbed, very stable. All right. So we always have tendency to aim for good results, big profit, big gain. Now when we get them, we are so joyful. However, when we have all this, the losses, we get so upset. All right. So Krishna says here, do it without being disturbed by this loss or gain. Yeah. So to do this, you need to keep your mind detached. All right. Don't get overjoyed when you succeed, and don't over depress when you fail. Right. This is called steady mind. Okay. This way one can keep the. It's okay, Divya Mataji. So this is about giving up one's own sense of proprietorship. So this is real yoga. Following Krishna's direction this way is called real yoga. Such equanimity is called yoga. So Krishna is giving here, yeah, step by step. Perform your duty equipoise, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. That is called yoga. Okay. Perform your duty equipoise. Actually, it's not very easy, right? But I'm telling you, it's possible if we consciously practice it. See, we have our natural tendency, we have our natural characters, because we have taken so many births from the past, right? So we are carrying so many impressions and characters and behaviors. So all this can influence the way we think, the way we speak, the way we behave. All right. But with this knowledge, you can consciously fight it. All right. You have to be very conscious to overcome these limitations, shortcomings. All right. We can never give up saying, oh, this is me, this is how I will be. We don't want to do that. So we always want to rise up. Okay, so all this information, all this Krishna's advice is very useful for us. Okay, so we are at the age of where we can test all this, and you will see some difference. Okay, so try that. Okay, so what is yoga? Who knows what is yoga? What yoga actually means? Yoga means to concentrate the mind upon the supreme. Okay, by controlling the ever disturbing senses. So that is yoga. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. So this is talking about how we should work. So you can stick this on your office cubicle, how I should work. Perform your duty equipoised. Okay, 2.49. Roja Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you for agreeing.
No problem. Durena hi avaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau saranam anvicha krapana pala hetava. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misers.
Thank you, Mataji. So it's abominable, bad things. All right. So Krishna say by doing devotional service, you can keep bad things away, bad things at bay. All right. So Lord Krishna is encouraging Arjuna to just do the devotional service. Okay. So of course, Arjuna's service is unusual. He's telling Arjuna to kill, to fight in a battle. However, the point is devotional service is to surrender to Krishna. Devotional service means surrender to Krishna. So Arjuna is already surrendered to Krishna, right? So Krishna is telling, so you fight. This is your dharma. This is your devotional service. So, okay, in another word, surrender means we do not think that we are the enjoyer of the result. So we do not think like that. Instead, we have to work for the pleasure of Krishna. Okay. So if you look at this picture here, this is a picture of ISKCON Gurukul in Mayapur. They have this boys' school in the forest. I've been there. They grow their own crops. Most those they can't, then they just buy. But generally they grow their own crop. They cook their own and they sleep on the floor. It's all like there's no cement and things like that. It's just like sheds, like very, very traditional, very austere. So they are learning about spirituality, about philosophies, mantras. So those, things that you see in the movies, right? So they actually do that there. And here there are teachers here, there are boys here. So they work with the Krishna as the center. All right, so the next picture is a cow farm. So we in Malaysia also we have cow farm in Jandabaye, and we grow this. We take care of the cows, and they give ahimsa milk, means they are not blood milk. You know, the milk that we get from the factories, they force breed them and force extract the milk. Yeah, so there are blood in it, so that's why we call it blood milk. Okay, so this is why in Western countries people go into veganism, because they know what's the atrocity that's happening in these dairy farms, dairy factories. So here we also save cows that are abused or abandoned. Sometimes after they can't give milk, they'll send to slaughterhouses. So we save these cows and protect them until they go through natural death. So like this, these activities are meant for Krishna's pleasure, because Krishna loves cows, are very dear to Krishna. So we have Jandabai cow farm, and we also have monthly contribution program, Go Seva. So it's very good to contribute to cow care, cow protection. It's very good. It's pious activity is very good. Okay, so the third one is hospital. This is a hospital in Mumbai. Okay, so we have doctors, devotee doctors, a nurse, and they can be devotees or non-devotees. So this is another way of working in Krishna consciousness. All right, so so now you can see that being devotees means not just sitting idle and do nothing. You must work for Krishna. All right, so and additionally, we don't work only for our own benefit. All right, we also work for benefit of others. Okay, right, so this is a revision. So I don't know if
Kawan datang. Dia parking kereta.
Kamila Mataji, everybody can hear you. Okay, right. So for example, how do you apply this in your life? If you are doing, you are studying for, let's say you're studying for doctor or something like that, right? So you want to think that you're doing it for Krishna. So it's not doing for my pleasure. So that way you are using your buddhi. So that is buddhi yoga. Okay, so you don't run away from work. You just change your consciousness. So the real renunciation is changing your consciousness, not renouncing from the work itself. Okay. All right, so there's a comparison here for easy understanding, easy viewing, quick view. Okay, so let's have somebody to read. Naveen Prabhu. Yeah, just read for us, Prabhu, and if you have some examples, you also can give us.
Examples.
Okay, never mind, Prabhu, just read.
All right. So do I go from one by one or?
Yes, Prabhu, you tell the characteristic under fruitive and then the work in Krishna consciousness.
So the first one is loss or diminution of the results. And the underwork in Krishna consciousness, no loss or diminution of the results. And then under fruitive activities, incur sin. And then underwork in Krishna consciousness does not incur sin. Refutation for fear of sinful reactions, argument. And then under fruitive activities, does not get rid of good and bad reactions. And then under work in Krishna consciousness, gets rid of good and bad reactions. And then the next one, under fruitive activities, no guarantee of human life in the next birth. But under work of Krishna consciousness, one is sure to be born as a human being, either in the family of cultured Brahmana or rich aristocratic family. For the next one, under fruitive activities, intelligence is not fixed. However, under Krishna consciousness, intelligence is fixed and resolute. Next one, there's no peace and no happiness under fruitive activities, whereas under Krishna consciousness results in peace and happiness. Next, under the fruitive activities results in entanglement, and under Krishna consciousness it results in liberation. The last one, fruitive activities entangles one to work, but work in Krishna consciousness free one from bondage of work.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu. So this is like a recap on the differences. Okay, so let's see how can we apply this in our life. Okay, so one's consciousness determines the bondage of activity, not the activity itself. You are bonded not because of the activity, it's because of your consciousness. Okay, so how do we get ourselves free from the bondage? When the activities are guided by a conception of eternal spiritual self. So if you identify yourself as a soul, you know who is the super soul and who you should work for. So like that, we will remain free from bondage. Okay, so it's important. Now, Krishna is going to use this verses to encourage Arjuna to fight. 2.54. Yeah, it's Naveen Prabhu again.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you hear me, right?
Yes, can.
1 second, Mataji. Can you hear me, Mataji?
I can hear you now, but can't hear you reading yet.
Oh. Arjuna Uvacha Stita Pranasya Kabasa Samadhistasya Kesava Stita Dekim Prabhesheta Kimasita Vrajeta Kim. Arjuna said, O Krishna, what are the symptoms of one whose consciousness is thus merged in transcendence? How does he speak and what is his language? How does he sit and how does he walk?
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. So now we are at the Samadhi section, and Arjuna wants to know how a person who is at the Samadhi stage behaves in some ways. So there are 4 questions here. General symptoms. Okay, number 1. Number 2, how does he speak? Number 2. Number 3, how does he sit? All right. Number 4 is how does he walk? All right. So we will see this one. So first, he is asking about the symptoms. So there is one personality we can give an example. What are the symptoms of a person situated in transcendence would be? That person would have given up all the material desires by complete engagement in Krishna consciousness. All right. So first he fixes his mind on the lotus feet of Krishna. All right. So, and he has desires, but his desires all centered around Krishna. And therefore, there is nothing called as desirelessness. We cannot be desireless. So Krishna consciousness is very practical. Okay. You cannot have no desire. So we always have desire. This is Maharaja Ambarisha. If you know the story, this is Durvasa Muni seeking forgiveness. This chakra is launched by Lord Vishnu because this Muni has offended Ambarisha. All right, and it will not stop until Vishnu's instruction is that it will not stop until Durvasa Muni apologizes or until Ambarish Maharaj forgives him. So Ambarisha has to stop the chakra. It's okay, chakra, please forgive him. You can go back to Lord Vishnu. So like that, the story. All right, so how we see how Maharaja Ambarisha is an example of these symptoms of Sita Prajna. Okay, Maharaja Ambarisha always engaged his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna. His words, he uses his words in describing the glories of the Lord. Okay, like what we are doing now. His hands in cleansing the Lord's temple. We can have this opportunity when the temple is open. His ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna, which you all are doing as well. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temples, Krishna's places like Mathura and Vrindavan. So those who have no opportunity to go to the holy dhams yet, so you can go to the temple and we can see the deities of Krishna. Okay, and he engaged his, well, even virtually we have so much opportunity to see the deities of Krishna everywhere. Okay, how he engaged his sense of touch in touching the bodies of the Lord devotees. You can also engage your sense of your sensory in touching paraphernalia that is related to Krishna's worship. Okay, he engaged his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of tulsi offered to the Lord. We also can sniff the fragrance of offered flower, offered incense. So all this we can do at home. So you can see, can I do this at home? Can I do this at home? Yes, definitely you can do this at home. Okay. He engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasada. I'm sure many of you are doing that already. Okay, he engaged his legs in walking to the holy places and temples of the Lord. So we cannot directly go and serve the Lord's lotus feet because Mother Lakshmi is already serving him. So what we can do is With our legs, we can walk to temples and the holy places. All right, so this is how we engage our senses. His head in bowing down before the Lord, right? Paying obeisance every morning, evening. Okay, all so this way, all his desires is engaged in serving the Lord 24 hours a day. So mind you, he's a king. He has his king duties as well, but he can be a topmost devotee because he's doing all this. Okay, so you can see that he's not taking additional effort to do, but while he's discharging his king duties, he is doing all these activities. Okay, so this is again establishing that there is nothing called as desireless. So what did we just cover? We just covered the symptoms, the first question of Arjuna. Second question he asked, how does he speak? So this question asking how the intelligence and words respond to affection, anger, and neutrality. So this is what Arjuna is asking, how a person's intelligence and words can react. Okay, so how does he react? This is the reaction. This is the question, how a person situated in the transcendence will react. Okay, Krishna will answer this in 2.5. See, this is a summary. We are not going verse by verse. Krishna will say that he is equipoised in happiness and distress. That means he is not going to react, so much. And he will be free from attachment, fear, and anger. He is unaffected by good and evil and firmly fixed in perfect knowledge. So these are all his, a steady-minded person will react. When he say, how does he speak? It's asking about how he is going to react. So the next question, okay, first question is symptoms. Second is how does he speak? Third one is how does he sit, right? And then how does he walk, right? So let's go to the sitting first. Okay, so we have a picture here. What does a tortoise do? So the tortoise has got a big shell, and then he likes to walk around. And then if he's not doing anything, he just sits inside and withdraw all his limbs and just sit there quietly. All right, so what does this question is saying? The question implies how he restrains his senses and mentality. All right, the answer is he uses his senses only for Krishna's service. Based on higher taste, he can control his senses. This is how a person situated in the transcendence sit. Okay, if he's not working for Krishna conscious activities, then he's going to just sit quietly. So this is a similarity between tortoise and devotee. It implies to keep senses always in service of Lord and withdraw the senses when it's not required. So if it's not required in any services, this devotee, he should just engage his mind and chant the holy names. All right, so we want to be like tortoise. Okay, so he's able to control his senses. When he doesn't have his senses he's not going to use his senses for Krishna, then he withdraws and keep it inside. This is how he sits. This is all about withdrawal of senses, and how he can do this when he has higher taste. If not, he's going to get restless. Okay, he wants to do something, right? When you have higher taste, it's okay. I'm going to just sit tight until my service comes, something like that. Until then, I'm going to chant or read. Finally, the final question is, how does he walk? How does he walk? It implies how does he engage his senses. So you can see these are indirect questions. All right, these are two intelligent people talking. All right, so we need to understand, we need guide to understand these dialogues. Right, so the answer is while engaging his senses, because everybody has to engage their senses, he does with regulation and religious principles. So you have to work. So when you work, you're going to abide by the regulations and religious principles. If not, even one failed sense will drift you away from your course, like a boat, right? Like a ship. It's very important to stay on course. If not, you're going to distract. Another one example here is given that there is one yogi here and there's one beautiful lady is coming to dance and distract him, but he is not distracted. So like that, the senses has to be controlled. Okay. And this picture is Sage Viswamitra is taking Lord Ram and Lord Lakshman going into the forest. So both the lords, Lord Ram and Lord Lakshman, they are going to serve a saintly person. So what are they doing? They are using their senses in the service of saintly person. So this is how Bhagwan comes in various incarnations to show us the example how to live. Okay, so it does not mean we all don't have senses. We all have senses. We have to engage. So we have to engage it properly, like this way. Okay. 2.72, Rasini Mataji. Are you speaking, Mataji? Cannot hear lah.
Mataji?
Now can, loud.
Okay. So, okay, I'll try to read quickly so that I won't lose the line again. Okay.
Alright.
Isha Brahmi Stiti Vata Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Stitvasyam Antakalepi Brahma Nirvana Prishchati. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life. After attaining
Mataji is gone. Okay, let me read that because we are getting late. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. So this is a test, all right? This is a test. If we can fix our mind on Krishna at the time of death, and then we can go back to Krishna. Okay, this is a Takshaka bird. Is coming to kill Parikshit Maharaj. So that's the Bhagavatam story. This Parikshit Maharaj questioning Sukadev Goswami, posting questions, right? Not questioning. So Maharaj Parikshit asks, "You are the spiritual master of great saints and devotees. I am therefore begging you to show the way of perfection for all persons." Oh, sorry, Shanti Mataji. I think Mataji is not here. So yeah, all right. Then Sukadev Goswami answered, "The highest perfection of human life, achieved either by complete knowledge of matter and spirit, by practice of mystic powers, or by perfect discharge of occupational duties, is to remember the personality of Godhead at the end of life." So whatever you do, you want to, acquire knowledge on matter and spirit, or you want to practice your mystic powers, or you want to perfectly discharge your occupational duties. So all this must culminate in remembering the personality of Godhead at the end of life. Always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. If you do not achieve this, then these are all useless. That is what Sukadev Goswami referring to as perfection. So Maharaj Parikshit asking his guru, "Show me the way to perfection, for one is about to die." He's going to die, right, in 7 days. So this is the question. Then Sukadev Goswami say, perfection of life is to remember Krishna at the end of life. So we are reading the Bhagavad Gita. We are hearing the words of Krishna. So we should also remember Krishna. Okay, so this is for us, all right, for us to practice. We are all inherently Krishna conscious. It's just dormant in us, and then we are activating it now. We are fanning it, fan the spark, all right? Okay, so we are at the end. Let's just go through what we have supposed to do. So chapter 2 started with Arjuna's doubts, reasons, confusion, and surrender. So Krishna gave Sankhya Yoga philosophy to encourage Arjuna to fight, and then he used Karma Kanda to encourage him to fight. After that, moved to Buddhi Yoga, and then finally we have covered Samadhi, a person who is situated in transcendence. That is Samadhi, all right? Okay, so you do your duty equipoised. So remember that. Okay, all right. So Buddhi Yoga means generally it's intelligence. It's about taking the non-reactive path. All right, so you don't worry about win or lose. So this way you'll be relieved from the bondage of work. Right? You get detached. Your mind should be detached from results. Samadhi is a self-realized soul. Okay, we discussed about his symptoms and characteristics. How does he speak? How does he sit? How does he walk? Remember the the tortoise. All right, so how a person can withdraw all his senses and sit inside the shell, if he has higher taste. All right, if he doesn't have develop the higher taste, all right, into reading and chanting and hearing and remembering all these 9 devotional service, these are all higher taste. right? If you do not have that, then there is no other effective means to control the senses. So these are all to help us to control the senses. Okay, finally, how do we attain the perfection? Attaining status of divine life or Krishna consciousness. Okay, devotional service is not different from being in spiritual world. So this is a reflection. Whatever we are doing here, it's the similar activity is happening in spiritual world. So it's not like something that you are doing here, it's not going to be used there or something like that. What is happening there, this is what we are practicing here. Okay, so in this life itself, you will be at liberated stage if you do this. Okay, don't have to go to spiritual world to feel liberated. You will be liberated during this very life if you do this. Okay, remember our friend here, our tortoise friend here, so remember that. Okay, so next week is Karma Yoga. It's very, very relevant, very important for us because we all are working. So it's important how do we apply this wisdom of Bhagavad Gita in our work, and how we should have our mindset. Okay. Okay, I hope everybody has Bhagavad Gita. If you do not have, please order from us. That's all for today. Any questions, Mataji's?